Well, hello, beautiful, amazing people. You know, on Sundays, I usually do a lot of work in my house, and I do have a lot of work to do. So I probably won't be on here very long. You know, that's my day. You know, most folks do worship, go to church. You know, people who are in the church, they do their house cleaning and other on Saturdays and stuff like that. Well, I was in the store yesterday, and that's my furnace kicking on. I'm hoping it doesn't make too much noise in the background. But I was in my store yesterday, speaking of that, when some stuff went down. Now, you have to understand that for the better part of this decade, I have been studying, practicing, and for some strange reason have been appointed to be an elder in the Black spiritual community. When I originally went for my voodoo initiation, I wanted to initiate as a Humsi. And my initiatory mambo told me that I had always been a mambo, but I just needed someone to teach me how to be. So that's one of the reasons why I am coming here to talk to you guys today. And I hope that, you know, and I'm sitting here and I got my square. And it's Sunday, y'all. I got my square, I got my prestige. And I really just, the bottom line, what has actually made me survive all of this craziness is I don't really give a fuck what people think about me. People. What I give a fuck about is that I am doing the right thing by my creator, that I'm doing the right thing by my ancestors, my Loa and my spirits, and doing right by me. My intern yesterday told me, she said, you know, Liz, I just love how you take this packaging, because I'm teaching her how to ship packages, okay? Beautiful young woman from Haiti. And she was like, you wrap this stuff with such care. And I looked at her and I said, you know what? It's bigger than, you know, me trying to make money or please customers. When I'm a customer and I buy something and I have it shipped to me, thank you. We had some for sale in the store. I'm going to try to figure out my 3D printer and make some more for you guys, because it takes too long for them to come from China. But I live by these principles. I teach people what the pentacle means, what the pentagram means, and what makes a pentagram different than a pentacle. And before I came to any of this stuff, I was a witch, y'all. A witch. A woman in total charge of herself. I just didn't know it. And for a lot of people who come into these practices, they have no idea what their power is. They have no idea what they're capable of doing and the changes that can make in your life. But I've had the blessing of a couple of things, which have also proven to be a curse. That in my decade, pretty closer to 10 years of me being a public conjurer, 7, 8, 9 years, something like that. I don't even remember. Because my introduction to conjure and hoodoo came way before any of this cult of personality bullshit. It started when I was a child and I didn't even know it. And my first magical mentors at the voodoo store led me to it. And I am never going to be upset with anybody who leads me in a proper spiritual direction. A lot of times people come into practicing magic where they are broken or there's a hole. And let me explain that a little bit further, but let me light my square, okay? Hey. The church mostly has broken a lot of black people, and the colonization and the oppression of Christianity has broken a lot of people who may not have even ever been Christians and don't even know it. So when they come into these practices, they really want to find the truth. And the first thing I got to tell you is why I have not been standing up on soapboxes and part of cancel culture is because I have the unique understanding that everybody does have their own truth. But I don't give a fuck what you say, because that's the first thing that happens when you get into an argument with these esoterical people. They'll be like, what is truth? Right is right and wrong is wrong. Okay? In a lot of things, both spiritually and mundanely. Okay? And if I've got some people from my circle of friends that have come into this live, and if they want to speak and provide commentary live, you are welcome to join the video. Just let me know. Okay? But, you know, a lot of people come into these religions needing, and it's true. We have been so snowed. We have been so discombobulated. We have been so lied to about what our magic is. Black people as a whole have been lied to about what their power is, and that the traditions, religions, and rituals of our ancestors upon which every single fucking world religion was formed, and if you don't believe me, check out that evolutionary tree of religion. The bottom of it is brown for a reason, animism. We possess some of the oldest religions, rituals, and truth out of any world religion. So for me, and I didn't come into Conjure this way, but this did become, once I realized what was going on, this became my ultimate goal. So let me tell you what my ultimate goal is as a practicing witch. As a hoodoo sant, as a voodoo sant, is to get closer to God. Therefore, I become closer to myself. To be closer to the Creator and the agents and energies that the Creator has put on this earth so that I may be. A few weeks ago, I posted the fact that we are descendants of like 4,000 ancestors, just individually. Keep that. We are our ancestors' wildest dreams. So for me personally, my quest for learning hoodoo, voodoo, and initiatory knowledge and things like that came from two desires: knowledge and protection. And early on, when I started in this, I had spirits in my house. I was the mentee of Alan Spears, who owns the Voodoo Store, and he is from Peru. And Jeff Cullen, his husband. And I had spirits in my home. I knew these spirits, y'all. I grew up with them. Some of you all have been in my home, have been visited by some of these spirits. And I was like, I got haints. I'm going to need you to get these haints out my house. And they sat down and I told them my story, which I'm not going to go into here. And that is when they told me, you are being called. Hoodoo and voodoo are your birthrights as a black woman. And they taught me everything they could. But in the process of all of that, you know, as most black people, and I can say everybody in this recent cast of people that people have issues with probably had some introductory, if not all of it, some of it, to magic, witchcraft, and conjure through the white community. I learned very early on that that was not good for my spiritual path. Why? Because they keep up more shit than a little bit, and there's a lot of people out here frauding people, and there's a lot of lies, and there's a lot of cultism. And I can tell you that I have had clients, black and white alike, come to me broken from the experience. And I just decided I wasn't going to be broken from the experience. But you can go back on my Facebook page and see how my involvement with those people in the beginning of my process caused people to still be passing around shit that's 10 years old about my history and where I come from, that I share with all of my students. That's how I've come to conjure. So, keeping that in mind, that is not exactly why we are here today. You have to understand that everybody's magic is theirs. Even in hoodoo, there are regional differences in the way people practice. Even in voodoo, no house is going to be the same. Okay, there's reglement, there's rules we have to follow that we do not discuss in public with anybody. But then there is the Mambo and the Ngan can also have standards and edicts for their house. And you have to decide as an individual, are you really down with that person's edicts and the things that they're telling you that you have to do or that you cannot do? But at no time, and I know this is hard, this is really hard when you're in it, when you might have even paid thousands of dollars to become part of this, because see, that's a big thing, especially in this pandemic. Everybody just want to be part of something. My business has grown not because of me personally, but because we are out here seeking our higher good. A lot of folks want to get right with the Lord because they just might die. We got people out here trying to find their way in a world that no longer makes sense. And somehow along the way, I realized that I had a responsibility in that, in bringing people to it. But let me tell you what I'm going to try to bring you to. And I don't know what these other people are doing. I'm not part of any house. I am not part of any association. In fact, every single thing I could run off the list of the people, places, and things that I investigated, participated in, and left because it didn't fit my spirit, didn't fit my personal goals and what I believed in. Because guess what? Grown people can go and do what the fuck they want to on their own. And if they want to put up with nonsense, that is entirely up to them, you know? However, as clergy, which we are responsible for behaving in certain ways. So, if you, and Gerald Miller has written a lovely post about what you should be looking for in spiritual teachers, guides, and elders. And I'm going to share that on my Facebook page later on when I get to a computer. It was not even my goal to turn on the fucking computer today. But I had to go pull out some receipts. Someone's apology who has been dragging me into the fucking dirt, a white woman, just simply because I ended my friendship. And has become problematic all these years later. And having black people turn around and share these words and screenshots and all this other bullshit. You know, the bottom line is this. Understand that when you're trying to find yourself, first of all, and where you fit and what your spiritual destiny is, yeah, you're going to make some mistakes. You might make some assumptions, statements based on what you know. But I learned a long time ago that you should not continue to be loud and wrong. Okay? Some people have been blowing up my Facebook post all day long. And so, in any case, I will get back to my mentors, or now my former mentors, my first mentors, are messaging me about this nonsense that has nothing to do actually with me, but somehow somebody who had a bone to pick with me because I kicked her out of a group for being disrespectful wanted to say I'm a fraud too. Look, you have to, when you're looking for this knowledge, and the best thing that I can tell you guys, and you know, there's people who are now talking about the group where all of this stuff went down and how they're disappointed and how it's making other people lose their faith in hoodoo and all of that. You got to understand this first and foremost. Okay, and like I said, if my crew is on here and if y'all want to jump in, you gotta ask me, because I can put you in, because these are the conversations I have privately with my people that I kind of confidences with all the time. So understand that when you are on a spiritual journey, there are going to be some missteps. There may be things that you believed in one day that you don't believe in anymore. There may be leaders who presented themselves to be to you a certain way, and they've proven that they're just human too, and prone to the range of human fallacy. Okay? You will experience that. People will come in and out of groups and all of that, but I'm going to tell you something. If it wasn't for my faith in my spirits, my Loa, my ancestors, my creator, I wouldn't still be talking to you right now, because I was ready to walk away from all of this shit when human beings disappointed me. And you have to realize that it's not about them, it's about you. And I believe that if you are going to be, I ain't asked for none of this nonsense. You know, people, if I say I'm going to write I've always said that if I write a memoir of my life, it's going to be called The Reluctant Mambo. Because I wasn't trying to do none of this. I certainly wasn't trying to do none of this for money. But I saw a hole where there were no black practitioners on an international scale that could bring people to this self-divinity, this connection with their ancestors, and this power. And as a result, that is how I live my ministry and live my mission. Those of you who have taken my classes, I tell you, take classes for many people. Learn how to divine for yourself, so that if you do find yourself making a choice to become a particular house or an organization, the spirits can guide you, and you can trust your reading to make the best decision possible. And guess what? You may not get the answers that you think you're going to get, because each and every single time that I've been involved in situations where I've had to walk away from, I divined, I spoke to my spirits, and they told me, yeah, go ahead and do it. And then, of course, when shit didn't sit well with my spirit, and I walked away for my own reasons for multiple situations, I was like, why you do me like this, spirit? Why you have me do this? For the lesson. Y'all do realize that's why we go through hardships, so that we can learn the lesson. But see, they say the definition of insanity is making the same mistake over and over again and expecting a different result. So that's one thing we have to stop doing. You know, anybody who has ever come to me about another practitioner, I've worked with them to help settle things in their own soul. I've worked with them to help them heal, get the closure, and whatever else it is that they need. And none of them have asked me to step forward to cancel these people who have been involved in unfortunate experiences that they have been in. So not my monkey, not my circus. All I can do is tell you as an elder. But when this last situation was made public, I went to the source. I received conflicting information. That information is in my status. I told people who I felt needed to know about it. And once again, crickets, silence. Sometimes when that happens, though, there's a lot more beneath the surface that I don't even know. I can't be out here, you know, put a Superman cape on and save the world for people when, in confidence with me as their spiritual advisor, have requested that I not do so. But if you think that any of this shit is okay with me, it is not. And I have made every single party aware that I don't like what is going on. But let me tell you something. And I've learned early on also, just in all the different professions I've ever had, because I was a professional photographer when I started studying at the Voodoo Store. They were my photography mentors, amazing artists. You know, I learned early on that it's not about them, it's about me. What do I want to accomplish spiritually from this? How am I going to feed myself spiritually? And then somebody, you know, and because of that, I have taken a real no-nonsense approach to even how I deal with people who I meet and interact with on social media. I don't tolerate disrespect, especially when nobody was fucking with you in the first place. Because honestly, that disrespect, lies, rumors, and innuendo damn near took me out of my life's mission. And what I realized and what I grew to understand is that as a grown ass woman, ain't nobody gonna keep me from what is for me. So keeping that in mind, we do have to realize that there are a lot of people out here who don't know what they don't know and haven't really grasped the full access to their own divinity and their own power. And sometimes that puts you in a very bad decision to be scared. To be scared to speak up, to be scared to walk away, to be scared to see your peace. But you know what? Because I actually thought I might have been doing this wrong, because that's the way I've been all my life. People used to go to my initiatory mambo and say, oh, she thinks she's the shits that she got initiated. No. I was humbled. But I always thought I was the shit. And I've always spoke up for myself. And I've always not put up with the fuckery and the foolishness. People love me because I ain't for the shits until I'm not for the shits with them. Okay? All right? Magic is in you. It is okay for you to want to be a part of a community. Lord knows that I have tried to consider and think of the different ways that a community could be created where it was just that egalitarian society of people just wanting to learn and step into their own power. And if the spirits bring me a way to do that, then that's fine. But I never had a group with thousands and thousands of people in it, because I'm so busy trying to develop me, my heart, my ministry, and how I'm helping other people, that I don't have time to admin fuckery. And so this fuckery reared some of its ugly head yesterday, with a black woman pulling out information she received from a white woman and other race questionable individuals in this community about me being a fraud. You are your reputation. It's how I treat my customers. Y'all don't know how many friends, family even, that I have lost by standing on my own moral code. Too many to recognize, don't even need to mention them. But if you came to me personally for divination and you said you were considering something, depending on what that thing is, I tell the truth. It doesn't depend. I always tell the truth. So we have to realize that as grown-ass people, no matter how spiritually or mentally broken we are, we have to protect ourselves. Don't be afraid to speak out when someone is obviously in wrongdoing. You know, but also don't expect other people to speak for you that are not intimately part of that situation, because maybe I have seen what has been announced as a legitimate claim come falling down like a motherfucking house of bricks, just because somebody had a personality conflict or problem with other people. I'm not in these situations with these people. All I can do is provide counseling about what I would do. And getting back to how we were talking about how my intern appreciated how I packaged things that I sent to people, because I get pissed off if shit get broken in the mail, y'all. I told her I love myself. Therefore, every single thing that I send from my store, every single class I teach, every single divination I give is out of that love for myself first, because I look at people, clients, customers, friends, and family, and I think, how would I like to be treated? If I spent $50 on some oils, would I like to receive them not properly wrapped, not treated with care, not treated with love and consideration when I spent my hard-earned money on it? And so, unfortunately, and what I find is there are a lot of people in this community, especially giving themselves titles and initiations that they don't have, because they really, first of all, think that shit really matters for you to be a credible, honest, spiritual individual. And I'm going to tell you that's not the case either. The only reason why you initiate is for higher learning, for the secrets of that particular occult practice, for further spiritual development of self, and for me, so I could be of better, legitimate services to others. I don't do spell work for people for the most part because people don't cooperate. And when I do it, I work with their ancestral court or my spirits that I have a relationship with to help them. You know, when we come into these things and we run into people that don't jive right with our spirits, I understand, especially when it took you so fucking long to get there, your reluctance to step away. It's heartbreaking. I can honestly say most of the situations that I've had to step away from in this journey have been like death. It's been like grieving. It's been painful. And some of my closest friends are here on this live and they know my grief. But you also come through that. If you are lucky enough to come through that, you get better. You're not bitter. You're better. So, yes, there are some things that have gone on in this community that I have personally experienced, that I have witnessed other people experience, that they never should have had to go through in the first place. Yes, dear, you know, you've been there the whole motherfucking time. But instead of letting that shake my faith in the powers and the divinities and the spirits way above mere humans, I let it build me rather than break me. I've had a lot of people come into my inbox with this latest controversy in the conjure community, and they come every single time there is one, because I'm like, I ain't got shit to do with these people. I don't know these people. I'm like that woman in Color Purple. I don't know these people. I know them, but I'm not tied to them like that. You know, people be married for 20, 30 years and realize and wake up one day next to somebody and realize they don't know them like they thought they did. Let me get a little bit of my beer. Oh, got me day drinking on a Sunday. Amber, I know you're proud. Incidentally, Prestige is a beer from Haiti. I probably won't be going there anytime soon, but my daughter found me a website where I could buy it. Woo woo! It's the only beer I drink. But don't be sorry for me, y'all. Y'all have been messaging me, and I appreciate the G's that stood up to that bullshit yesterday. Especially my sister who handed that bitch her words right back in her mouth, stuffed them right back in. Okay, yes, I got one more in the fridge, Tierra. But I found out where to order it. But, I definitely will let you know the hookup. But this is the thing. You know, I appreciate the people that had my back because they knew of me. I am grateful for that. But at the highest level, when you act right and you present yourself properly, you don't need that. Because your reputation stands on its own. And that's what you need to be looking at when you're seeking spiritual teachers, okay? Let me see what you saying, girl. Saying reveal some shit there. Man, right. They want me to run tell that and be like, well, Ruth was Elizabeth. Ruth was the one who told me this, that, and yeah. No, grown people. But if you come to me, I believe black women, and I'm going to have care and compassion for you, and I'm going to help you. But you got to help yourself. So understand that your connection to spirit, first and foremost, is through you. The reason why I started Magic 101 is because people are lost of all races, creeds, cultures, about how to tap into their own divinity. And I just want to share what delivered me. I just want to share what delivered me. And so when you go to these other agents of deliverance and education, and they do things and say things that don't, because my whole thing is, if you don't like me, get the fuck off my page. I don't need your money. Go look at my Google reviews. For every clear person that has come up in my store talking about they practice hoodoo or engaging with me in conversation using racist terminology like black magic, and how they get read and how their little feelings are hurt and how they want to go and post a Google review. I give no fucks, and I let them know that. Because I will burn that whole motherfucker down before I sacrifice my principles. And that's the way I live my fucking life. So, when you go into spirituality, learn how to divine, learn how to study for yourself, because that's one thing my mentors did not do. They did not spoon feed me. That's one thing my initiatory mambo did not do. She showed me where to look. And I looked. And I found for myself, and therefore I have my own personal gnosis, my own magical practices that sit within and outside of the traditions of my ancestors. That's because I'm telling y'all, that's going to be the first thing that's going to help you to avoid predators. Because when you do have to walk away, and you do have to speak up for yourself, then people are going to be like, well, we thought you was kind of smart. Well, when you realized this shit was going on, what did you do about it? Why didn't you just walk away? That's a lot of times what people are going to ask victims of these things. Why didn't you walk away? It's hard sometimes, especially if you're broken, especially if you haven't gotten to your full spiritual power. Because number one, you're now leaving your family or your spiritual house or your group or your coven, and you're by yourself again. You're that weird one that nobody understands. And the very people that you thought you understand, you disappointed you the most. It's hard. Then we got to look at the fact that in some of these places and situations, people are actually being threatened, thrown at, and abused by the people that they were subordinates of. They were subordinate to. They're being abused by these leaders. There's curses being thrown. But I'm telling you all, the one thing that I stand on, I never push my chest out and be like, come at me, bro. No. But I know my spirits protect me. I know if I'm doing right, that they will lead my way. And that the forces of evil, because if you are not doing that, if you do not believe that, and if you can't protect yourself or find the ways to get said protection, then what the fuck are you doing this for? People don't understand that religion in general, they got ways to fuck you up. And all religion has magic, including Christianity. Well, I remember one time I was going to go to a family gathering, and one of my brothers, who was broke and not a Christian either, was like, no, we not finna go sit up there with them. So what, they can pray away your divinity? So that they can interfere spiritually with the progress that you've made? You got to learn how to put up these spiritual guards, y'all. And run with knowledge, people, places, and things that will wrap you within their love. Because otherwise, what are we doing this for? How could someone's threats or throwing against you, doing things, but it's like cleaning up cockroaches. But see, the problem is a lot of us don't grasp exactly how powerful we are. I was talking to another magical mentor of mine, sister of mine, and I was just like, damn, one of the things that I've always thought about in my own practice is Man, if I really, really tapped into everything I am and everything I could do, I'm scared I might become a motherfucker too. But I don't think it's likely. Now, I'm a motherfucker just on GP. I don't need magic for that. I don't put up with bullshit. I stand my guard and I stand up what's right. And I believe black people, and first and foremost, I believe black women, and I will always stand with them in whatever way they want me to. I'm not scared of human beings. I do acknowledge that there are evil forces on this world that can really bring real devastation to your life. But a lot of these folks that be out here talking all this bullshit, you're better than that. You're more powerful than that. Don't be afraid to love yourself. Don't be afraid to study for yourself. But see, and I'm just going to be, this is not victim blaming. I'm not talking about anybody that's come to me with any of these issues. I'm talking about people on their beginning of their magical practice in general. They don't want to study. They don't even want to read. I ask my students, have you done candle magic? And they say yes, and they have no idea what lighting a candle really means, but they've been out here doing this shit. A lot of people don't have the idea, and I'm going to tell you another thing as far as your personal divinity and your power, it is going to take you a lifetime and maybe more to achieve the knowledge of what you are fully capable of. But you are worthy. If you ain't out here fucking with nobody, doing nothing wrong, and just really out here trying to get that spiritual connection, then you have the power. All by yourself. You gotta be able to put the time and the work into it. It's not as simple as buying some incense or a candle from me or splashing yourself with some cologne or some oils. But for some people, that's enough, and that's okay. But for those of us who are seeking higher connections to deities and even hoping to elevate our spirits to a point where one day we may even be a deity ourselves, that's in you, boo. And that's why they call it root work. They don't call it root play. That's why they call it witchcraft. They don't call it witch play group. And so, yes, I have an internet presence. It's what you got to do to have business. And I realize that, shit, I work a full-time job. I'm going to need to get fed financially for helping all these people. And you want to know why? A lot of people, I don't even charge, man. They come to me sincerely and want to grow and want to do something. I didn't receive any money from anybody that sought any initiation that I referred them to. But a great deal of the people who come to me, that's not what they're on. You know, time is money. Energy exchange is not robbery. Money is energy. You got to make sure that who you giving your money and your time and even a piece of yourself, because when you initiate, that's what you do to these people. You better know they're right with your spirit. You better not be in such a big fucking hurry to jump on the latest hoodoo bandwagon and attach yourself to people who don't deserve it and don't mean no good. And you can't tell me that we ain't out here doing that. We do that in love relationships. I got a stepdaughter and a whole ass blood child that came out of me not loving myself properly and giving more to relationships than I gave to myself. But guess what? The best things I ever did was my kids. No matter what goes on with them, you know, There are benefits to trials and tribulations. There are lessons, there are blessings and everything. And so when you find yourself in a situation with somebody who is not going to do right by your spirit, tell you bullshit, not do right by your training, intimidate you, hurt you in any fucking way, walk away. Yes, there are people out here who have more knowledge than you. There are people out here who may even have more magical prowess than you. But that doesn't mean you can't learn. That doesn't mean you gotta let your spiritual future, your literal karma, be wrapped up in some shit somebody else is doing. And so yesterday, I somehow got wrapped up in some shit somebody else was doing because somebody had a bone to pick with me. Oh, here comes Ruth. Ruth can tell you, hold on, Ruth. I'm trying to add you. Hold on, I think I got to do it like this. Okay, yeah, there you go. Here you go. This is a very, very close spiritual sister. She's connecting. And Ruth has been in my home. So when that bitch was talking about my ancestors visited Ruth. An ancestor visited Ruth that hadn't even visited me. I was a little salty.
Child.
But, you know, both me and Ruth have been called on the carpet from various spiritual people in this community about telling the truth, about warning our friends, about what's for them and what's not.
Yep.
You ain't nobody's friend if you about to see them walk in front of a motherfucking truck and you don't do shit to pull them back.
Say it. You better say it, Mambo.
So what you have to say, sister?
I mean, all I could really say, I mean, you touched on a lot of points. I think that what's happening is people are starting to see that divide. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
people are starting to see that divide,
Mm-hmm.
and due to the fact that people are starting to see the divide, you can separate the real from the fake. And I don't know if y'all been paying attention, but these magical streets, honey,
Ain't no joke.
at all.
And just because they're black does not
Hmm.
mean that you're going to get any better. Well, you might get a little better
Child.
uh, than these folks in these white communities. And then black folks want to run around and talk about their spiritual street cred like they didn't start studying with white folks too. That's the part that really fucking
That shit
blows
that
me.
killed me.
But Ruth
That's
is
the
one
shit
of
that
those,
killed me.
right? That Ruth is one of these people. She grew up in this. Ruth is from Jamaica, y'all, and
I've been
don't need no
practicing
titles.
since I was a kid,
Right,
literally.
right. And people, you know, when you're powerful, you ain't got to tell nobody. It
At all.
emanates from your motherfucking soul.
Absolutely.
So what advice do you have to give these people who's out here looking for a
I
leader?
mean, for real, y'all. You know, discernment is such a big thing now, man. Use your discernment, common sense, common sense. You understand? When you hear me, common sense, common
Common
sense.
sense ain't so
You
common.
know bullshit when you see it. You can smell it, and if you ain't hip to it, I'm gonna need you to get to it.
And you do,
Okay?
and you know, I can honestly say, and I have admitted several times with you and other people who would listen, there's been a lot of times in this walk that I abandoned my common sense. I didn't, but what I didn't do was abandon my
But you were
discernment and my
honest though.
divination. Right,
But sis, you was honest, and that's one thing I respect about you because you was honest. You was an honest bitch about that shit. And I said, listen, I hear you, cause I done did some shit too.
right.
And Spirit said turn left, and I turned right, and yo,
Spirit has told me many times this is not going to work out well. In the latest spiritual test that I had, Spirit was like, "Oh no," and I'm like, "Well, what? Am I supposed to say something about it?" And Spirit said, "Nope, just let the shit happen." And I
and you
did,
sure did.
and I
Oh,
suffered
that
for it.
was crazy. But what's crazy about it though? You called it because you was like, watch. I'm gonna be called on the rug. Watch. And
I was down on the
literally,
mat
it wasn't even 24 good hours.
before I was
That
on the
was
mat, laying looking at the fucking ceiling for a week, had listening to my ancestors and my spirits berate me for the bullshit that I allowed to happen, trying to be a good person. Ain't that a bitch?
that's the thing that got me about the whole situation. That's the thing that got me about the whole situation. And I'm not into groups. Honestly, I don't like groups too much. If it ain't yours, I don't fool with them too much because this is too much.
You know, and that's a
You want to
heavy
put
fucking
everybody in a
responsibility.
jar and hex everybody, and oh, this is it's
And the biggest
foolishness.
thing is, how could they be doing any of the work when they're all tied up in all of this bullshit? Because the principal players and all of this bullshit be mighty motherfucking busy online with screenshots, gossip, and innuendo.
They ain't worried about their own business. See the whole thing. That's the whole thing about manifestation. If you start to put some of that energy into yourself, you so worried about what other people are doing. Put the energy into yourself, into your practice, into that work.
Because the one thing I had to learn as a spiritualist was when the shit hit the bricks, the first place I was going was not going to be Facebook. It was going to be
Hello.
to my altar.
Every time.
So when my sister called me and
Every
alerted
time.
me to that bullshit yesterday, my blood sister, I said, you better conjure your mama. You better conjure Elizabeth Ruth, my
I
grandmother.
know that's right.
I ain't made up no fucking persona. My sister was like, how dare you insult the legacy of my motherfucking ancestors,
And that's
bitch.
why I said shit. I talked to him because of. Let me tell you something. Let me tell y'all a good story, y'all. I'm minding my business. I'm good and sleep. Okay?
We all are
Good and
until we
sleep.
ain't.
Good and sleep in Mambo house. Good and sleep. I'm talking about good drunk and sleep.
You know, we
Okay?
get the good drunk sleep here.
I was good and sleep. And when I tell you, I didn't know who this woman was. And I've always been one that, for whatever reason, people come to me. I don't know why. But this woman is standing over me,
In my
got this
guest
apron
room,
on, got this apron on, got some scissors, and I said she's a seamstress or something to that effect. Hair was done in a ways, and I said I don't know who this woman is, but when I tell you the presence that I felt in her home, you couldn't you couldn't pay me to lie on her about the energy that I felt in her home. That we videoed together of your table.
my reading table, where my spirits are.
Your with your bag of bones and with your cards. When I tell y'all, and some of y'all probably got TikTok, you know that ripple effect where it picks up certain energies and all that stuff. I was like,
Let's see.
let me just walk around the house and see what's up. When I tell you this whole bag lit up, the energy was on the table. Nowhere in the room, just on this table.
Where I do all my divinations. Yep. And
You couldn't pay me to lie
she described
about
my
it.
great grandmother to me. That's my great great grandmother.
Yeah, because I was like,
Ruth,
wait a minute now.
our
I don't
mother
know who this
Ruth.
woman is, but I gotta tell you about this woman because she came to me in my sleep and was tapping me. Hey, hey.
My spirits
I
have
said, wait a minute. Hi, who are you?
and when she described it to me, I got goosebumps right now. My hair stood
We
on
both
end.
we both did. Yes.
My great great grandmother
Yes.
has only visited in me in my dreams. So for her to show up here, one Ruth to another, and
Yeah,
and she
literally.
didn't run you out this house. See, because I've had witnesses and I have students, I have people on this live right now who have been in my house who have witnessed ancestors running motherfuckers right up out my house.
I believe it. I believe it.
And so,
Like and that's why I said I fool, and that's what I said to you. Remember I said to you, I said I fucks with
yeah,
you
that's why I fucks with
because
you.
I see your spirits in here.
And that's the
I
part,
fucks with like I really yeah, I fucks with you, but no, I really fucks with you.
right?
Because if I can be in any place, and like I said, it ain't a matter, yes, whatever the circumstance was, but if I'm in a place where I can feel your ancestors and really feel them, that's the place I want to be.
Exactly. And see, the thing is,
You know what I'm saying?
you know, there have been people that slept in this living room. My ancestors just fuck with them all night. Some of them they've run
Listen,
out. Some of them they haven't. Because this is where my ancestral altar
listen.
is, in my family room, because in my family. And see,
Yeah,
that's what I want everybody who's listening to us right now. And I want you to share this with people. It's deeper than these associations, these houses,
it's
these
deeper than right.
PLAs.
It's deeper than Facebook. Like
Right.
you have people making real, true, live soul connections, and that is you can't
That's
you can't
everything.
fake that.
That's
You can't
everything.
fake that.
No. And that
You know
is
what I'm saying?
everything.
You can't.
And you may think that while you out here in these streets meeting every snake oil salesman, megalomaniac, abuser, Tom, Dick, and Harry, that because
Right.
they have a cult of personality or they have a following or they keep it real, that is the person that you may necessarily need to be following. But I need y'all to examine that.
Watch for spirit. Don't watch for ego.
But see,
If
the
the if
thing
the if the
is,
ego is too great, if the ego is too great, walk away.
but
I
you,
guarantee I'm telling you no wrong. If
right,
the ego is too great, walk away.
walk
Because
away.
there's so many posers, there's so many posers out here. One thing that I've realized, especially being of West Indian heritage, trying to understand Black American heritage, everybody have ego. Everybody have it's like they have something to prove.
And
One thing I can say about Orbia practice, because I'm a Orbia priestess, it's not a matter of proving because it's either spirit accepts you or it don't.
right, and either
Period.
you got it or
That
you
is the
don't.
initiation process. It's either you have the gift or you don't.
But see,
You know what I'm
the biggest
saying?
problem that I have had and that I have experienced out here in the Black and white spiritual communities is that people are looking for the rock star. You know that game Civilization? When the natives get
Shit.
restless, they give them a little Elvis.
Shit.
People always, and that was never ever anything that I ever desired. In fact, I've spent my most of my spiritual career as a professional conjurer trying to walk the fuck away from, because I know that it's
I
in
understand.
me.
That's
It ain't in nobody
I
else.
understand.
You cannot find
It's it's
this.
it's it's not about yeah, it's not about that.
You cannot find spiritual enlightenment
Yeah,
in other people. You can be taught, you can be trained,
yeah,
you can be taught ritual, but at the end of the day, if your shit is hollow, it's hollow.
yeah.
If you don't have a foundation, and therefore, when those people fall, you're going to fall right along with them. So it's a Sunday, goddamn it. I'm going to preach and I'm going to give
Oh,
everybody a word
hello,
that is within my
hello,
hearing.
hello.
If you, at the end of the day, cannot stand with your creator, your ancestral spirit, your Lawa and your Orisha, and hold on to that faith without the intercession of anybody else, you're doing it wrong.
That's right.
Because that's not what, just because I'm not in a house or doing certain practices or with certain people,
That's right. That's
that doesn't
right.
mean that I don't believe what I've
It ain't
always
about it ain't
believed.
about being in the in crowd.
No. And everybody wants to be a
you
part of something. And I get that. We all need family, especially in this pandemic when so many of us are isolated and so many of us are
absolutely,
alone. But baby,
absolutely,
when you get this word, when the spirits sit
absolutely.
on your ass and make you do and follow your calling, no matter whatever it is. When these
Yes.
people go out here and they take a class from me, and then all of a sudden they open up a conjure shop, I ain't hating. They not
at all.
competition.
That's the whole thing, and that's the whole thing. People don't understand that it's not a
This is
competition
about
because what is for
community.
you is for you. In the book of Jeremiah, it says, "I knew you in the womb." What is ordained for you is
It's for
ordained for
you.
you. Your blessing ain't got shit to do with me. Just like my blessing ain't got shit to do with you. It's a matter of your intent. It's a matter of that connection. And when you make that connection and you make it happen, can't nobody
Take that from you.
come on now.
For
Come
years,
on.
I walked around here feeling like a motherless child.
Mm,
It wasn't until I had to sit with myself and what I believed in and what spirit has done for me,
absolutely.
because I'm gonna tell you all, ain't nobody sitting over here rich. Beware of those people
Mm,
flossing all of that,
it's a show.
trying to get you to do
It's a
their bidding.
show.
It's different when you
Mm-hmm.
are speaking on the miracles the Spirit has done for you and you trying to show other people how to get there. But if somebody is sitting here and telling you that your divinity, your connection with Spirit, your elevation, your fucking karma has
Absolutely.
to do with their bidding, we got a motherfucking problem.
Mm-hmm.
We got a real big problem. And as grown ass individuals who are seeking spiritual enlightenment, you better get this word. You better figure that shit out.
That's right.
There's
Let that
nothing
shit
wrong
hit
with
your
learning.
soul.
There's nothing wrong with community. ATRs are community. But when the community is corrupt, you don't have to deal
Mm-hmm.
with it.
Mm-hmm.
And that, you know what? And people's levels of what they think are corrupt are their levels. That's another thing. Just because I don't like it, don't mean you ain't gotta like it. I ain't never
Mm-hmm.
gonna tell nobody what is for them, but
Right.
I love myself. Therefore, I love my people and my friends and my clients and the people who come to me and value what I have to say to them. And I'm going to tell them to steer clear of these principalities and these colonial
Mm.
mindsets.
Mm.
People keep talking this shit about decolonizing your magic, but do you really know what that means? You're
You
trading
gotta get
one
out of
form of slavery for
that cult.
another.
That cult. Yes.
And if it
Ooh,
can,
you gotta
if you
say it.
and you know what, other people may not feel that way. That's for them. That's their personal journey. That's their personal business. It is not for me to speak of anything but my own truth and my own self.
Touche.
And you all have to understand, I spent decades not loving myself.
Mm.
Before I even came into being a witch and knowledgeably being one, because shit, now that I have looked back on my life and seen the shit that has happened in my life, I realized that this
And
was
that's
the
real.
final destination. But
And
see,
that's
I
real.
had to come to a thing that I love me. I'm smart. I'm capable. I'm powerful. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. And then I was in my fucking 40s, y'all. So you 20 somethings running around here thinking you found the way, the truth, and the light from somebody when you don't know your ass from a hole in the ground. You ain't studied shit. You're gonna get caught up.
Yep.
And it ain't just
Hmm.
this latest situation that I'm talking about. Yes, the cult of personality. Somebody put some shit on TikTok about cursing the moon and the fae, and everybody wants to get all
Mm-hmm.
out of pocket and talk about it. Guess what? I know they don't know shit. Ain't even
Mm-hmm.
worth my time. Just like right now, I could be reading. I got witchcraft books and things. I could be
Child.
at my store processing orders. I could be washing my goddamn clothes. I could be doing radical acts of self care.
Right.
But for the past decade, what I have been doing is trying to balance that with caring about other people's spirits. And there are going to be people out here that are not receptive to this. There are going to be people out here, and guess what? I tell my kids always tell me, oh, you just always think you're fucking right. And I'm like, no, I fuck up something every day. But the difference between me and you is I learn from it.
Right. Right.
We may continue to make mistakes in this thing called life. We are humans.
Absolutely.
But if all you all out here within earshot of what we are talking about here today, you want to be woke, then wake the
Yep.
fuck up. Open your eyes. Learn the
This shit is not
process.
for grins and giggles
No. But
at
is
all.
anything that's good for you easy?
Hmm.
Eating right show ain't easy. I ain't fat because I just been looking at food. As I sit and have my
For
cigarette and
real.
my beer this Sunday morning.
Okay.
We are not
Okay.
without faults. We are not without tempers, right? Get that rum, girl. Get that rum.
You
We are
already
not
know.
without feelings. And so, the best thing that I can tell you all about this spiritual journey is you really need to. That's what all this fucking shadow work. I hate these fucking buzzwords. Because for all this shadow work, every motherfucker in the spiritual, yes, Invicticus, every motherfucker in this spiritual world be talking about shadow work, but are you really digging down into why we let
Child, listen. Shadow
abusers
work is
in our
every
midst?
day. It's not just a phase. It is an everyday
Walk.
thing you set in motion. Like, and the thing that people don't realize within spirit is that you're gonna be tested
All the time.
with it
All the time.
because they want to make sure. Okay, before I level you up now,
Are you ready for the
make
are
sure
you
you
ready for
make sure you understand that. You know, you working on these manifestations and you want this and you want that, but are you ready
right?
for
What,
those
because you
things?
know it's just like when you buy a kid a car. Say you got this
Mm-hmm.
spoiled little kid, and when they get 16 years old, you go and buy them a brand new car that they never had to work for it. Are they going to appreciate it as much as that
Right.
hoopty that I had to pay for and keep in and out the shop and drive and treat with care? No. So when you ask for certain spiritual gifts, you have to do understand that you are going to go through tribulations. And some of those tribulations may be other people throwing negative energy your way to fuck you up because they know they're not going to get to where you're going.
Yep.
And then you all want to sit up in groups and argue with these motherfuckers all day long. Or you want to
That's
join up
taking
with
your
them
energy too.
and you're okay as long as they're not reading you for filth.
Child, listen.
And then
You
there's just
better you
people
better
out here that
get
ain't
hip.
shit. There's people out here that want to take your money. There are people out here that want your very fucking soul. The muggles do that.
Absolutely.
The world does
Your
that to
gifts and
you.
everything else.
But the problem
Yes.
is when we start talking about decolonizing our practices is black people from the very fucking beginning. There's been memes and everything that have shown this from our encounters with these people. We've been set back and we have been conditioned to believe that that's all we gonna get. And then it goes into a self-fulfilling prophecy of, you know what, that's all you can get. I
Right.
remember my first husband tried to tell me some shit when I got my first car note, and they put his name on the motherfucking payment book back in the days when you had to have the little payment book. They put his name on it. I'm like, this motherfucker didn't sign for me. I'm gonna need you. And you know why? Because this motherfucker turned around, looked at that payment book, and said, "See, I told you you couldn't do nothing without me."
Mm.
I was like, "Oh, see now, bitch, let me show you." And I called them mothers right fucking promptly and been like, take his name right off of this because he ain't had shit to do with
Because
this.
he ain't
This
got
is
shit to do
me.
with it.
This is my
Mm-hmm.
growth, my development. I accomplished this. And so in these
Right.
spiritual practices, you all are going to have to get to that level where somebody can't come and tell you, threaten you, or oppress you and say, I'm the reason why you are. The fuck?
Mm-hmm. And people will
No.
come back to you. People will come back in your life just to do so.
Yes.
They miserable.
Miserable. Misery loves company.
They miserable and everything else.
Every
Keep
fucking
your eyes
morning of my
open.
life, I wake up happy, no matter what I'm going through, because I have been given another chance to get shit right,
Yes.
to do shit right.
Yes.
And so, I think that yes, we do have to hold people in all aspects of society. I don't give a fuck whether it's magical or not. We have to hold them accountable for wrongdoing. But
Right.
part of that is we can't lay down and take that shit. We can't do it for a minute. We can't do it for a moment. We can't wait. Why we can't wait? As a book, who wrote that? Was that a Baldwin book? I can't remember. So as black people especially, we haven't got no fucking business out here victimizing each other. We are supposed to
Yep.
bring each other up. And if you
You
find
think you get
yourself,
cool points for that?
what?
Fuck out of here.
Right.
You don't get cool points for that.
Right. And if you can't, if you are in an environment where you can't build people up and you can't, or you're being torn down for the very essence of you because you are beautiful, you are who you are, and you are worthy,
Mm-hmm.
then you need to get them motherfuckers out your life.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
No matter how much you may even love them, no matter how much they know, no matter how much you admire them. And it doesn't have to
Absolutely.
be, depending on the offense, it doesn't have to be a public matter. It may just be you not accepting the fucking gaslighting that somebody else is going to show your way. That's right, move around. So I want you all to
Absolutely.
remain encouraged. I know there's certain people with a lot of these things that have come out about certain spiritual leaders, which is why I ain't never wanted no house, which is why I ain't had no godchildren. People say, can I call you mama? Can I call you auntie? Yeah, okay. A lot of these folks I don't even know from shit, but I know
Mm-hmm.
myself and I love
Facts.
myself. And I know that when I was at the beginning of my spiritual journey, I needed somebody to love me
To connect. Yeah.
and not
Yeah.
mean me no harm.
Yeah.
And I found those people on my way. That doesn't even mean that I stayed with those people, but I found those people. Find your
Absolutely.
fucking village. It's just like any other fucking neighborhood. If the wrong motherfuckers move in and don't vibe with you, get the fuck out or make memories.
Absolutely.
But the bottom line is, a magical mystic posted this the other day. I am the altar, not the motherfucking sacrifice.
Yep.
So if somebody's putting you on a pyre to eat your ass up, you might want to go better, because I'm telling you, that shit gets into your psyche. That shit gets into your spirit. That shit makes you doubt
Mm-hmm.
your very spirit, your very ancestors, your guides. Because when people talk to you like you ain't shit and threaten you like you ain't shit, you do understand that they mean your ancestors and your spirits ain't shit either. Think about that. The
Right.
next somebody mistrusts you. And let me tell you something. Even if I'm feeling low about myself, I ain't feeling low about my God. I'm not feeling low about my
I know
ancestors.
that's right.
That's why my
Hello.
sister jumped in there and jumped down that bitch's throat last night. Because what you ain't gonna do is come for
Hmm.
mine.
Hmm.
Have that
Hello.
much respect for
Hello.
yourself. Because I'm gonna tell y'all for real. Fuck this internet and spiritual community shit. You wanna be a magician? You wanna
Hmm.
change the fucking
Hmm. Hmm.
weather? You wanna become a god? You better find a god in yourself.
Hmm.
And you better make the
That's
motherfucker
that's
work.
it.
So
There
all
it
of this
is.
is about manipulating energy. Do not let people scare you from you becoming your best self. Haven't we done that enough already? Haven't we done that enough as black people?
Yes.
We do everything the fucking best. Everything we get training and we get the education to do, we do it. We put those motherfuckers on the moon. And I was in my fucking 40s before I found that out.
Hmm.
My daughter came out of that movie, Hidden Figures, so hyped, so amazed. That's why representation matters. That's why representation and magic matters. Show these motherfuckers where we come from. Like Angela Bassett said, even though they fucked that show up, she said, everything you got, you
Yes.
stole from us.
Yep.
But y'all won't go around and listen to somebody tell you that you ain't great,
Hmm.
that you aren't powerful, that you don't even have the ability to spiritually protect yourself. And then they got you just like that. They got your mind, because magic is here first. They got your mind, they got your money, and they could tap into your soul.
Absolutely.
So y'all, we're gonna have to just do a better job of taking care of each other. I wish that when and I trust me, y'all, there is nothing any one of y'all can drop in my inbox about these people that I didn't know already. And Luffy made the
Right.
joke today that I can't hold water. I can't hold lies. I'm always
she,
gonna tell the
she really
truth.
can, y'all.
I can't lie.
She telling herself, I'm like, oh, you such a
I don't
Pisces.
even know how to lie. I'll be that woman. I
That's
ain't
a
gonna say
Pisces
shit.
thing. Because I'm a Pisces. I know.
Right. I
Because if
just
I
be
did some
like,
shit, I'd be like, shit, you
or
know
I'll
what?
tell somebody
Yeah, I did
something
it.
like, I wouldn't advise that. You
Mm-hmm.
ain't even got to put everybody's business in the street. So the bottom line is, I've known
Yep.
all about this shit in both the white and black kinds of communities. And you know what? I'm not in that with those people.
Right.
If it's something that I am intricately involved with, then I wouldn't even be speaking. I didn't speak on none of that shit. Somebody brought my name into it because I'm just sitting there all day loving the post about
Mm-hmm.
accountability and keeping it moving. But there are people who don't have their own business. They don't have their own lives. They don't have their own pursuits. They don't create anything.
Yep.
And that's all they have to do. When one fucking trick ponies. But you can look at me, you can especially look at the dudes who own the voodoo store. They fucking creating. Ruth is
Yep.
creating. The people I ride with, they are creating whatever it is. Monique with her jewelry, Ruth with her spiritual items, Dimka with her gardening and her herbal information. Melissa is a doula, putting in the work. When you
Yeah.
take the time to put in the motherfucking work, you ain't got no time to be fucking around with these idiots in the street. I don't know how many motherfucking hours of my life I have lost to these fucking charlatans and these clowns because somebody expects me to speak on it.
Yep.
Put my name in shit I ain't got nothing to do with. And I would love to say that I don't give a fuck. I do. I do care about people that go through shit like this.
Right.
I really do care about
Because there are
people.
some really hurt people out there.
Yeah. And they get more hurt when they get involved with predators and cult leaders and people that
Absolutely.
demean them and gaslight them and don't take their very valid feelings and moral code into account. And so when you find yourself in those places, I don't care how much you love someone, because we do. We love our spiritual leaders. A lot of times
Mm-hmm.
people be like, I don't fuck with that person no more, but I got love for them. Just
Mm-hmm.
wishing and hoping that they would come,
Yep.
just be on the come up.
Have a come to Jesus moment or something. Yeah.
Something.
Yeah. Yeah.
But sadly for human beings of all types, of all races, of all colors, they don't get that come to Jesus. But it's really a come to yourself until the cards fall down.
Exactly. Exactly.
And to in every life a little rain must fall. But I learned early on that we have to love ourselves, protect ourselves, our morals, and our spiritual interests. And that's enough. That self love will then permeate every single thing that you do. That is how I'm motivated.
Hmm.
Hell yeah, I got store rent to pay. By the way, this is my slowest time of year. BigLizConjure.com. Ruth has a page. She's going to be selling stuff in my store too. You know, I got bills to pay. That's some very real. But ain't
I mean,
nobody
that's
trying
some
to
real shit, y'all.
get over on you. And if you run the motherfuckers that do run the other right direction, we gonna ready to go because I got shit I gotta do.
Yeah,
I might even have my other beer, have me something to smoke, and get my black ass back in the bed. I don't know, maybe because I'm grown. I did do what I want to, but I'm gonna leave y'all with this. One of the best advices that my mother ever gave me, which came from her mama and probably her mama. You see crazy coming, cross the motherfucking street. Love you all. Thank you for joining me, Ruth. Because these folks, they out
absolutely.
here on some shit.
Chill.
When you see crazy coming, cross the motherfucking street, and then you won't have these stories to tell. That
Right.
still doesn't mean that somebody has the right to abuse you or mistreat you. But as grown
Absolutely.
people, we have to protect ourselves, and therefore we have to protect each other.
Absolutely.
All right, now. Love y'all. I'm finna go. I don't even know what I'm doing today. Folks are just throwing my fucking day off. Don't let folks take you off your square.
That's right.
That pisses me off. I gotta go get back in my square. And don't let people confine you to one either. All right. Bye, y'all.
All right, y'all. Be good now.
All right. You can't be good. Be careful. And don't get
That
caught.
too. That too.